my dudes. Today I'm going to be sharing my European travel bucket list. Of course, some of this is already checked off because, in case you didn't know, I studied abroad in France last year. I feel like when people talk about traveling Europe, that's just such a broad thing, and Europeans are always like, Europe is a massive continent, right? I am coming from the perspective of an American, but I feel like the entire world has this idealistic image of traveling, backpacking across Europe or studying abroad in Europe. And even, of course, people within Europe, because it's gigantic, probably want to travel to all of these places as well. Let's just get into it. Starting with Western Europe. People argue about what is considered Western, but I'm talking about like literally geographically Western. I'm facing the wrong way of the camera, but Western Europe is primarily the UK, Ireland, France, and the Netherlands. So again, I studied abroad in France. I was in southern France. Still to this day, most people I talk to are like, how was Paris? And I'm like, I studied in Aix-en-Provence. But okay, I think a lot of these cities in that kind of Western European area are some of the most popular for studying abroad, London, Paris. So it makes sense that people who are studying there or around those countries travel within that same area. Obviously, especially if you're studying abroad or if you're backpacking on a budget, you are trying to see what's nearby because that's probably the most cost effective, whether you're taking buses or trains or planes. So within this little Western European area, people tend to go to the same places, London, Paris, the major cities that are on pretty much everybody's global bucket list. I have been to both. I only spent about a day or something in London, so that is still definitely on my list to fully explore. And I spent one weekend in Paris. So again, I would love to go back to both of those places, and I actually am planning to. I don't know if I've mentioned this on this channel really, or maybe I've mentioned it a million times, but I'm going to be living with Nathan and his family in England for all of November and December this year. So that's why I have got this bucket list on my mind, because I definitely intend to travel as much as I can, see as many new places, and meet any of you perhaps, collaborate with some international YouTubers. We'll see. So then, of course, in the Netherlands, people love to go to Amsterdam. I've been twice, it's great. And then in Ireland, most people mention Dublin, again, another major city. What I want to say about these specifically very popular Western European destinations is, yes, of course, they're amazing places to visit. That's why so many people go there. They've got amazing architecture, amazing history, great museums, great tourist attractions. But of course, they are not the only worthwhile places to travel to within those countries. So obviously, again, I studied in southern France, which is very far away from Paris, but there are so many incredible places there. So if you're gonna visit France, I would recommend going to the southern region, Aix-en-Provence, Marseille, Nice, all of those beautiful kind of coastal cities or areas in Provence. Especially from studying in a kind of smaller city, even though Aix is still pretty big, studying somewhere in France other than Paris gave me such a better perspective of France as a whole, because obviously there's so much more to see than just the major capital cities in Europe. That being said, Paris is amazing and I'm excited to go back. So anyway, on my list still for that region, I would like to continue to explore London. There's so much of the UK that I definitely will see. I'll be staying in Devon, which is like southwest England. Endless list of cities that I want to go to. I definitely do want to go to Ireland. A lot of my family is Irish and also Scottish, so I would love to explore both of those countries. I've heard, of course, that Dublin's amazing, but I've also heard from people that you have to get outside of Dublin, like really make an effort to get outside of the city to see like real Ireland. By the way, I hope nobody takes offense of anything that I say in this video, because this is me saying this as a visitor, and I definitely don't have enough knowledge or experience in any of these places to have like a rock solid verdict on them. If you guys have anything to contribute, please leave it in the comments below. Let me know where I should visit or what cities you think are worth going to, what places you should maybe skip. And then, of course, Amsterdam. Amsterdam is an experience, but even within the city of Amsterdam, it depends what areas you're in. Obviously, if you're in the kind of red light district or the tourist trap kind of areas, you're not getting the same experience as like the general vibe of Amsterdam, if that makes sense. And you're definitely not getting that same Dutch feeling that you can get from other cities nearby. So if you are going to visit Amsterdam, definitely branch out a little bit, take even a day trip to somewhere nearby, and you'll get a completely different, amazing experience. Before I continue, I want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, which is School Apply. I've worked with School Apply before and they are awesome. They are a study abroad service that can help you find the perfect program and school to study abroad at. Whether you're an American trying to go abroad or you're from anywhere else in the world, maybe you want to study in America, wherever you are from, wherever you want to go, you can use School Apply. They have a free search service, so you can go on their website, create an account. Based on what kind of degree you're trying to get and your budget, they will show you what schools match those needs. They also have a more dedicated service that you can pay for if you really want help to find the perfect school and you want help with the application process, the visa process. Those can be very overwhelming. So if you're looking to study abroad and you need some help, School Apply is definitely there for you. If you guys are interested in studying abroad, please check out School Apply. You can click the link in the description, sign up for a free account, and just look around, see what's out there. I already have the travel bug just from thinking about this. And if studying abroad is something that you want to do, you need to set your mind to it, look into it, figure out what's out there, and you can absolutely make it happen. Once again, shouts out School Apply. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. And then some places that are considered kind of Western Europe, kind of Southern Europe include Italy, Portugal, and Spain. Let's start with Spain. I spent my break during my semester in France in Barcelona, and it was so incredible. I really, really love that city. Very vegan friendly. But I would love to go back to Spain and be able to explore other cities. Portugal is definitely on my list. Nathan loves Portugal. I'd love to go to Lisbon and honestly anywhere else. It's a very popular holiday destination, really beautiful and coastal. And then Italy. I actually did not get a chance to go to Italy during my semester. Most people, when they're doing their Western European travels, most people make Italy a priority. Obviously, you've got Rome, you have Florence, Naples, Milan. There are so many incredible cities to visit in Italy, so all of those are on my list. And then moving into kind of more Central/Eastern Europe. Again, people argue about what's considered Central or Eastern, whatever. I have Austria, the Czech Republic, Germany, Hungary, and Switzerland. In Austria, I was able to go to Vienna, which was so beautiful. The history of the Austrian Empire is so just amazing, and visiting the palace, I'm literally blanking on everything. It's just, there's a lot of wonderful stuff to see. And Vienna also has such an incredible musical history. That's definitely a good one. And then of course, Prague in the Czech Republic. Prague was incredible as well. I just remember crossing that bridge a million times, even though I was only there for 3 days. Again, another city with so much history and so many great museums and sites to see. That's so vague to say, I know. Everywhere you go has history and sites to see. But I mean, one of my favorite things about traveling, especially through Europe, is museums and learning about the local history, so I don't know. Germany. I went to Berlin. I also stopped through at least 1 or 2 other cities, but didn't get to spend much time there. Berlin is an amazing city. I definitely didn't get to see enough of it because you could spend years there and not see all of it. So I'd love to go back there. And then Hungary. I started my trip, my big 3-week-long trip that is most of what I'm referring to right now. I started my trip in Budapest, which was such an incredible choice. I love the history of kind of Central or more Eastern Europe, especially compared to Western Europe, because again, so many people are more familiar with Western Europe and kind of prefer those cities as major destinations. But if you go a bit further east, you just find so much more, obviously. It's hard to talk about travel and why people should do it. Budapest is mainly known for their baths. It is a very cool experience. I think I went to 3 of their baths. It is a very European feeling activity. They're these big thermal bath spas. They're so elaborate. And it's very cool because most people obviously don't have their phones around, except for a couple people with selfie sticks, which is annoying. But, it's just a bunch of adults, swimming. I don't know. It's beautiful. But even aside from the baths, Budapest is such an awesome city, and it's gorgeous. And Budapest is pretty well known, but I would definitely make it a point, if you're going to be in Europe, to make your way out toward Hungary. I had such a great time going to those museums specifically because I'm not familiar with a lot of more Central or Eastern Hungarian or any of that kind of history. So I spent a lot of time very slowly walking through museums. And then Switzerland. Switzerland I actually have not been to. It is definitely on my list. I so badly want to do that classic like train ride through the mountains. It is just breathtakingly beautiful from what I've seen. That's been on my list for a long time. I would love to go anywhere in Switzerland. So if you have any recommendations of specific towns or villages or cities that I should go to, let me know. Then we move into kind of the southeastern region, which includes Croatia and Slovenia, both of which I have been to. This video kind of makes it seem like I've completed my entire bucket list. I have not, but these places are just so incredible that I want to let you know about them in case you're unfamiliar. I feel like when most people visit Croatia, they go to the coast, like Split. Croatia was one of my stops, and I spent a little bit of time in Zagreb. I always pronounce that wrong. Really beautiful, very clean and safe capital city. I would definitely recommend checking out Croatia. And I would love to go to coastal places like Split. I just wasn't able to on my last trip. And then Slovenia is on my list because it has such a soft place in my heart. I feel like Slovenia was a place I never would have chosen because I didn't know anything about it. But again, the route that I was traveling made it very easy to hit these places that I usually wouldn't expect to want to go to. In Slovenia, I went to Ljubljana and Bled. So Ljubljana was like the most perfect, calm place I had ever been to. Like, I was literally suspicious. I was like, this is so pleasant. It's beautiful. The kind of center of town has a lot of main architectural points and all of these different bridges. It's hard to explain, but just mentally that's the image I have, is just walking through that part of town and just being amazed. I also toured the castle, and that was very cool. And then also in Slovenia, I went to Lake Bled for a few days, and that was just like, again, this is why I think it's so important to not just hit the major like urban city destinations, as awesome as those are, but to be able to go to like a smaller, more rural area is just amazing. Bled was so beautiful and calm and serene, and everybody was so nice. I took a little day trip to a place called the Vintgar Gorge, which was gorgeous. And I wish I was able to do this expedition that would go through like the entirety of that region, but like the most beautiful blue water, the most beautiful greenery. It was just breathtaking. And so those kind of experiences I really want people to have, especially if you're not a major fan of cities, because I know a lot of people feel a little bit claustrophobic when you go to these major cities, and they are very busy, especially if you're traveling during peak times. So if you're the kind of traveler who wants to, you know, get a little bit away and kind of have a calmer, more open travel experience, hit up these smaller towns, smaller cities. I'm sweating. All right, onward to northern-ish Europe, which I am calling Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Iceland, Norway. I have not been to any of these countries, but I would love to go to them. I think I admire them a lot for their progressive values. You know, people always talk about that region being very progressive, very forward thinking, very like gender neutral, or not gender neutral, but like they're just ahead of the game when it comes to a lot of liberal ideas and policies, and I'm just a fan. Also, I think they have like some of the best standards of living in the world. So out of all of those countries, I don't know exactly where I'd want to visit. Honestly, anywhere. That's the theme of this video. As far as Iceland goes, I have heard from my best friend McKenna. She had like an overnight layover in Iceland when she was going to travel in Europe. She said it's very expensive. Like, she didn't even want to eat because a sandwich was a ridiculous amount of money. So I'm not like super into going to like very expensive places. But obviously the like Blue Lagoon and all the natural beauty of Iceland is worth going to, but just like I have to be mentally prepared to spend more money than I'm prepared to spend. And the last thing on my list is St. Petersburg, Russia. So kind of keeping up with the theme of this video is like to continue exploring a little bit just further away from the standard Western European destinations. So St. Petersburg seems amazing, and I would love to explore a little bit of Russia. Russia is gigantic. I can't believe how little I really know about it, and I bet it would be stunning. All right, I am literally melting. Thank you guys so much for watching this. And again, if you have any travel tips or suggestions, please let me know. I'm gonna be doing some traveling, and I'm very excited to be sharing that with you guys. Okay, thanks, bye.